Good day. Today we are going to talk about the phosphorus cycle. What is the phosphorus cycle? Phosphorus participates in a process known as the phosphorus cycle, in which it moves between the lithosphere and the hydrosphere and the biosphere. Phosphorus is an element that is essential not only for the development of plants and animals, but also for the health of microorganisms that live in the soil. Phosphorus travels through its cycle via a variety of mediums, including rocks, water, soil, sediments, and living beings. Phosphate ions and other minerals are eventually released from rocks as a result of weathering and rainfall. So, how does it work? There are four major steps into it. First, we have weathering. So, rock contain rocks contain abundant phosphorus. The phosphorus cycle begins in the Earth's crust. From the rocks, phosphate salts are extracted. These salts are washed into the soil and combined. Next is we have absorption by plants. The plants absorb dissolved phosphate salts, and the soil has little phosphorus, so producers use phosphate fertilizers. Next is we have absorption by animals. Animals get phosphorus from plants or plant eaters, and the plant and animal cycle phosphorus is weaker than the rocks or the weathering. And the last step is the return of phosphorus back to the ecosystem. Microorganisms degrade plants and animals. Organic phosphorus is transformed into inorganic and returned to soil and water. Soil and water become sediments and rocks, which weather to release phosphorus, and then the phosphorus cycle restarts. Next, we have the biogeochemical cycle. Any of the natural occurring pathways via which component elements of living things can be transferred and traded with one another. The term biogeochemical refers to the study of biological, geological, and chemical components of each cycle. The term biogeochemical is an acronym of the phrase biological, geological, and chemical. Next is we have the anthropogenic effects. The region was fertilized with mineral phosphate fertilizers so that people could continue to keep the levels of phosphorus in the soil at the levels necessary to keep agricultural yields stable. This enabled people to continue to keep the levels of phosphorus in the soil at the levels that were required. On the other hand, this action over the course of time will result in an accumulation of phosphorus in the soil at the levels that are higher than those that are required by the crop. In addition, eutrophication was caused by the release of phosphorus into the environment by sewage treatment plants and other industrial sources. This led to an increase in concentration of phosphorus in the environment. The extensive contamination brought on by nutrients and the eutrophication that results from it are two of the most important threats of the quality of water found throughout the world. Next, we have invasive species. Invasive species are well known to impact many aspects of ecosystems, including biodiversity, food, food web structures, and ecosystem functioning. So here are some invasive species that affect the phosphorus cycle. We have the green crab, killer algae, sea walnut, and the veined rapa whelk. We have the epigenetics. Phosphorus is an essential element for all forms of life on Earth, which makes phosphorus cycle an extremely significant process. It is essential for the creation of cell membranes, bones, and teeth, as well as the passage of energy within organisms, the construction of information, and the transmission of energy between cells. So, according to an accumulation of evidence, epigenetic regulation is required for modification of how plants respond to the availability of nutrients. That is all for my presentation. Thank you.